Love her or hate her, it's Kim Mulkey's world and we are all just living in it. She is the first coach to win national championships at two different schools. In my mind, she is the clear winner of the 2022-23 women's basketball season. If you are not aware, she took some heat at the start of the year for the Britney Grinner situation. Now, before you start with your poison and comments, yes, I'm talking to you LSU fans. I will fully outline that this is basically, it was a storm in a teacup, if you like. As the whole situation, I'll get a quick recap. Mulkey had previously been on the record regarding Griner saying, I think this is a personal issue. You just want everybody to come home safely. And I pray for Britney. I want her home safely. And there's lots of people speaking out on her behalf. Those of us who don't necessarily speak publicly about it certainly are praying for her. So she was on the record at saying this, but then she was asked at a press conference if she had anything to say regarding the situation, and she said no comment. Some former players came out and said, think twice before you go to Baylor, because this is how Mulkey treated BG, so consider your options. But the issue basically died. If you want a full breakdown on this, I've done a previous video that goes into greater detail. If you can stand the way I say the word sexuality. I don't know, in that video I could not say the word sexuality, but otherwise the information is good. Alright, so like I said, the story had pretty much died, and then once Britney Grinner got out of detainment, Mulkey issued a statement through ESPN saying, Britney is on her way home where she belongs. Our prayers remain with her and her family as they recover and heal together. So it's a dead issue, right? Well, of course not, because during Final Four week, you can only talk so much about how good Caitlin Clark is at shooting threes. So predictably, at the press conference on Thursday, Mulkey was asked, have you spoken to Britney Grinner since she's returned to the country? Now, Mulkey was a bit more savvy this time, giving a pretty good comment saying, no, but I'm glad she's back. Mulkey went on to say, I'm glad she's safe and she's sound. I think everybody is, but no, I have not. Then, of course, everybody went to Twitter or Instagram or wherever the hell they go to complain about this because, dear God, Mulkey hasn't spoken to Britney Grinner. One was, y'all want to praise Kim Mulkey for this LSU Final Four run, but I ain't forgot her Baylor days and how she treated Britney Grinner, all hateful sack of bones. And the other one was, let's see. It's amazing to me that black girls still go and play for Kim Mulkey, seeing how she treated Britney Grinner and her lack of speaking up for her during the entire ordeal, elevating her profile while she does not speak up on issues that affect black women at all. Wild. Now, you could see where this was going. Now, in general in sports, we like a bad guy or bad person narrative, and the narrative being pushed was, if you're a black player, you should not be playing for Kim Mulkey due to what she did or more, what she did not do or say regarding Britney Grinner. Now, I can't prove this, but I am pretty sure this would have been the storyline if USC would have beaten Iowa. It would have been how Don Staley supports her players and how her players love her. Throwing a little bit about how Staley develops the character of her players with a bit of subtle dig at Angel Reece and how she wasn't able to be nominated for the Wooden Award because her GPA reportedly was too low. It just would have been a little bit slight that way. But then this narrative or script got ruined by Iowa and Caitlin Clark, who balled out and beat USC. Then Staley herself further flipped the narrative after the game by calling out Iowa coach Lisa Bluder for making the comment that trying to get a defensive rebound against USC is like going to a bar fight. Bluder then came out and said there was no ill intent with my comment, saying, I know coaches will take things and spin it and try to motivate their team. She went on to say, I've done that, I'm sure, but with that, I really meant it as a compliment, like you're going to have a fight. You're going to have to fight harder than you've ever fought in your life to get a defensive rebound against a team because they are so good. That's what my intent was. If you're in the Staley camp, then this is just another comment being used to label your team. If you're in the anti-Staley camp, then she's oversensitive and playing the race card. And then now sweeps in Kim Mulkey like Stephen Bradbury to win the NCAA tournament, as Mulkey was going to be portrayed as the crazy dressing white woman who does not respect or care for her black players like Dawn Staley does. But no, now it's USC lost, and now we have the white team who had questionable comments made by their coach, who is playing Kim Mulkey's team, who is predominantly black and allowed to be who they are, which is bold and brash, baby. Then Mulkey goes out in the game and flourishes. She did not let Iowa get away and go on a run, which could have been deadly for her team that struggled to score all season. Instead, she called an early timeout at the 8:23 mark to settle her team. Unlike Staley, who waited for the TV timeout and then did not call another timeout at the end of the first quarter when it was clear Iowa was making a run. After that, USC was playing catch up for pretty much the rest of the game. So Mulkey goes on to get her national championship. But not only that, she didn't have to come out with a phony apology to Britney Grinner or have an awkward phone call with her where they act like they like each other, but they don't. And even more satisfying, I would think, is one of the stars of the game for her was Morris, who she gave a second chance after kicking her off the team when she was at Baylor. Morris came back after going to Rutgers and then Texas A&M, and then there was a nice story on the TV about how her grandma or mom told her to go back to Kim Mulkey and get the discipline and how it's changed her life. Even more satisfying for Mulkey is when Morris got dismissed from the team, Baylor or Mulkey never came out and said what she did. It was a youthful mistake, I think it was described as. She kept her mouth quiet. Player didn't go after Mulkey, and Mulkey didn't come after the player. And when that player needed a second chance, Mulkey was there saying, "Just come on, I'm waiting for you." Then the final win for Mulkey is actually the subtle digs that she might be racist is actually giving her coverage. I mean, let's be clear. There's very little difference between LSU and South Carolina. They both play aggressive and tough basketball. It's not beautiful basketball. It's in your face. I mean, LSU reminds me of Miami in the 80s and 90s. We're going to kick your ass and then let you know about it. After the game, there was talk about how Reece got in Clark's face and was mocking her and all those things. But in my mind, Mulkey is Teflon because you can't really call her a racist if she's running basically like the Miami Hurricanes of basketball, which is enhanced as her black players love her. Like that was the thing Reece talked about. She came to LSU for two reasons, NIL and that she's been allowed to be who she is, which is in your face, getting technicals and letting people know about it when she blocks their shot or kicks their butt. Everybody keeps on talking about Dawn Staley and South Carolina being the next Connecticut. Well, I wonder if that next Connecticut could be LSU because Kim Mulkey is sort of like a combination of Jimmy Johnson, where the players love her, but as well a bit of Jimbo Fisher with a sweet little NIL setup that's also going to attract players like honey. Anyway, that's why I say the big the big obvious winner of the weekend was Kim Mulkey. She won in every conceivable way. And she has Angel Reece for another couple of years. So my God, look out for LSU. If you want to click on the next video, that is about Kim Mulkey and Britney Grinner. If you can stand the way I say sexuality. I think I do it better now. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Please like and subscribe as it allows me to produce more content. Good night.